because she doesn't have to.
Good morning, everyone. Sixth of April. What do we do when we're in trouble? Today is the 6th of April. Got to get on the right day, Monday morning.
2026.
April the 6th.
2026. The year 2026.
Can you say it out loud?
2026.
My wife's trying to tell me something, but I couldn't understand what she was saying, so I'll just go on. Anyway, what do we do when trouble comes? In Job, the 5th chapter, 7th verse says, "Yet man is born into trouble as the sparks fly upward." Man is born into trouble as the sparks fly upward. Everybody has troubles. Some of us just seem to have more trouble than others, don't we? The word trouble is mentioned 109 times in the Bible. Paul, speaking of the Judaizers in Galatians 5:12, says, "I would that they were even cut off which trouble you." Have you ever felt that way about someone who's troubling you, that you just wish they were cut off? I felt that way. We don't like being attacked. We don't like being threatened. We don't like people saying terrible things about us. We don't like people putting out misinformation about us. You know? Job asked the question, will God hear his cry when trouble cometh upon him? Well, the Bible says that for his people that he will never leave them or forsake them. This is interesting. 2 Thessalonians 1:6. "Seeing it is a righteous thing with God to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you." You know, God is going to trouble those that trouble his people. He's going to trouble them that trouble his people. I recently shared with this audience that I was talking to someone, and all of a sudden she was like overtaken by an evil spirit, and she said to me, "You're not a Christian." Well, that really strikes at our heart when somebody attacks us like that, doesn't it? Psalm 86:7 says, "In the day of my trouble I will call upon thee, for thou wilt answer me." Proverbs 25:19, "Confidence in an unfaithful man in time of trouble is like a broken tooth and a foot out of joint." I can relate to that. You know, sometimes when we're going through trouble, we don't feel like doing anything, do we? I wrote a poem like that one time. I don't feel like doing anything but sitting with my face against the wall. Okay. When we're in trouble, we get downhearted. We don't have motivation or incentive to go on sometimes. Galatians 1:7, "There be some that trouble you and would pervert the gospel of Christ." Psalm 31:9. Have mercy upon me, O Lord, for I'm in trouble. Mine eye is consumed with grief, yea, my soul and my belly. Oh. Psalm 108:12. Give us help from trouble, for vain is the help of man. You know, when we're experiencing something that is beyond our control, Satan likes to attack us then, doesn't he? When something happens that we have no control over, that's when Satan would really attack us the most and try to make us feel like everything's our fault. Psalm 60, verse 11. Give us help from trouble, for vain is the help of man. Man can't help us. Man has no more control over the situation than we do. Be not far from me, for trouble is near, for there's none to help me. Psalm 60, verse 11. Well, the Bible says in Proverbs 11:8, the righteous is delivered out of trouble, and the wicked cometh to his stead. God will intervene for his people in due time. Psalm 69:17, and hide not thy face from thy servant, for I am in trouble. Hear me speedily. Isaiah 33:2, O Lord, be gracious unto us. We have waited for thee. Be thou their arm every morning, our salvation also in the time of trouble. Nahum 1:7, the Lord is good, a strong hold in the day of trouble, and he knoweth them that trust in him. I love this one, Psalm 107:28. Then they cried unto the Lord in their trouble, and he bringeth them out of their distresses. We had to know that God sees what we're going through. He knows everything about what we're having to face in our life. You know, he knows exactly what you and I are going through each day of our lives. And that, by the way, that is a reoccurring theme throughout the 107th Psalm, mentioned many times. Then they cried unto the Lord in their trouble, and he saved them out of their distresses. Proverbs 9:13. Have mercy on me, O Lord. Consider my trouble, which I suffer of them that hate me. Thou that liftest me up from the gates of death. Psalm 72:2. Have you ever had this happen? In the day of my trouble I sought the Lord. My sore ran in the night and ceased not. My soul refused to be comforted. Have you ever had that? I know I've had that experience, when it seemed like we just couldn't find comfort anywhere we looked. Jeremiah 8:15. Jeremiah is often referred to as the weeping prophet. He says, we looked for peace, but no good came, and for a time of health, and behold trouble. Job 3:26, I was not in safety, neither had I rest, neither was I quiet, yet trouble came. Do we sometimes feel like God is hiding from us? Have you ever felt that way? Psalm 10:1, why standest thou afar off, O Lord? Why hidest thou thyself in time of trouble? Psalm 116:3, the sorrows of death compassed me, and the pains of hell got hold upon me. I found trouble and sorrow. Well, in the midst of all the trouble that we face, we have a refuge. You know, Psalm 37:39, the salvation of the righteous is of the Lord. He is their strength in time of trouble. Psalm 9:9, the Lord also will be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble. Psalm 54:7, for he hath delivered me out of all trouble, and my eye hath seen his desire upon mine enemies. Psalm 31:7, I will be glad and rejoice in thy mercy, for thou hast considered my trouble, thou hast known my soul in adversities. Psalm 142:2, I poured out my complaint before him, I showed before him my trouble. Well, the apostles experienced a lot of trouble, a lot of persecution. Stephen was stoned. Look at the Apostle Paul, what he suffered. 2 Corinthians 1:4, who comforted us in our tribulation, that we may be able to comfort them which are in trouble, by the comfort wherewith we ourselves are comforted of God. I can relate to people that are going through troubles. Because I've had my share of troubles, I can empathize with them. Psalm 32:7, thou art my hiding place. Thou shalt preserve me from trouble. Thou shalt compass me about with songs of deliverance. Selah. Psalm 81:7, thou calledst in trouble, and I delivered thee. I answered thee in the secret place of thunder. I proved thee at the waters of Meribah. Selah. Psalm 102:2, hide not thy face from me in day when I am in trouble. Incline thine ear unto me in the day when I call. Answer me speedily. Psalm 143:11, quicken me, O Lord, for thy name's sake, for thy righteousness' sake. Bring my soul out of trouble. Psalm 20:1, to the chief musician, a psalm of David, the Lord hear thee in day of trouble. The name of the God of Jacob defend thee. Psalm 138:7, though I walk in the midst of trouble, thou wilt revive me. Thou shalt stretch forth thine hand against the wrath of mine enemies, and thy right hand shall save me. Psalm 59:16, but I will sing of thy power, yea, I will sing aloud of thy mercy in the morning, for thou hast been my defense and refuge in the day of my trouble. I like this one, Psalm 27:5, for in the time of trouble he shall hide me in his pavilion, in the secret of his tabernacle shall he hide me, he shall set me upon a rock. Well, we all have our share of troubles, and like I said, some of us seemingly have a lot more trouble than other people sometimes. Psalm 91:15, he shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. Sometimes we have to remember that God is sovereign over all of our troubles. We may not understand why he has decreed that these troubles come upon us. Maybe it's to humble us. Maybe it is to increase our faith to him. Maybe it is to cause us to cry out to him, show us our own pride. There's lots of reasons that God sends troubles. But God is a refuge to those who call upon him, you know. And so this morning, let us remember that God is the God of refuge. He is the God that will hide us in his pavilion. He will give us comfort in times of trouble. When it seems as though we can't go on, when it seems like we can't face another day, when it seems like we don't know the answer, when we try to resolve whatever is troubling us, you know, remember what Job went through. Yet man is born into trouble as sparks fly upward. Well, may the good Lord be with you today. If you're in a time of trouble now, today, my advice would be to cry out to him and ask him for mercy in your times of trouble. May the good Lord be with you today in a special way is my prayer. God bless.